have the topic of mobile hacking practical left. So let's move on to that. Okay, now again, we will be using Metasploit for this purpose. So what I'll do is in Metasploit, remember a tool that's part of the Metasploit framework that we can use to create our payloads is MSF Venom. So again, this is something that we're going to make use of. So MSF Venom, and I'm going to create a payload -p. Now, since this is going to be for a phone, it's not going to be Android, it's not going to be Linux. Sorry, it's not going to be Windows or Linux, it's going to be Android. Android, and we want a interpreter shell, and we want to create a reverse TCP connection. TCP. So this is our payload that we select. And after this, there are a few things that I need to specify. So since this is a reverse shell, can anyone tell me what I need to specify here? It's similar to what we did in the malware threats chapter when we created our malware for Windows. No one? Like what information do I
This
give?
reverse TCP, so this reverse TCP is used for is used because to dodge any kind of intrusion alert
Yeah, intrusive
systems.
systems or firewall.
Yeah, firewall.
So this is going to create a reverse shell, right? Over TCP. So what information do I need to specify here so that when it runs on a device, it is able to connect to my system? So what information can I specify here that will help it in that purpose? What should I specify? See, if I want to create a reverse shell, I must be able to get my malware, whatever I'm creating, to connect back to my system, because that is what a reverse shell is doing. Your target is initiating a connection back to your system. So for that, it needs to know your IP. It needs to know where to connect.
So L host and H host parameter need to be set.
L host needs to be set. That is correct. And L port needs to be
Port.
set. Okay. But the thing is, if I just use L host and okay, I can use it either in capital or in lowercase. That won't make a difference. Now, if I just use this as the IP, so this is not going to work here because this is a private IP and the device that I'm targeting, it's not on the same network as my virtual machine. So I'll make use of ngrok in a separate tab. What I'll do is tools, and there is a script I have called ngrok. Have we seen this in class in a previous chapter, or is this not something that we've covered?
It's a dictionary file actually, sir.
No, no, no. ngrok is not a dictionary file. See, ngrok is a script which can expose your private IPs to a public address. So it sort of creates a tunnel because now I cannot have my system handling connections if I just use a private IP. If I need to be able to catch connections from all sources, I need to have a publicly accessible IP so that these devices can connect to it. Now, even my host system will not be having a public IP. Why? Because I'm inside of a Wi-Fi network. So the IP assigned to me by the router is a private one. And of course, the virtual machine is on a different network than the host network, different network than the host machine. This is simply a virtual box networks, or let's say an internal NAT network situation. So I need to use something like ngrok so I can get a public IP to use. Now what I need to do is with ngrok dot slash ngrok, so it's a script, we run it. I need to specify the protocol I'm using. So we are using a TCP connection and the port which is to be used. So let's say we use something like 5555. Okay, so it's connecting currently. After it connects, it will create a connection for me. And okay, this is the address that I need to use, 0.tcp.ngrok.io, and this is the port number. So when I specify lhost, this is what I'll use. Copy this, simply paste it here, and L port is this 18259. 18259. So these are the parameters that I'm going to specify so that when this malware runs, now it's going to see all this from the outside. So it won't have access to any internal network. So when it runs, it needs these parameters to be able to connect. So that's all these things we need to specify, and I need to redirect this output to an APK file since it's an Android malware that we're creating. So we'll just name it not malware.apk. No. So this can take a minute or two to create this file for us. Okay, so the file has been created. If I perform ls, I will see that this file is now created here. But I don't need it here. Where I need it is I need to move it. Okay, to so I move that file. Now what I'll be doing is this is a shared folder. So my host machine is accessing this as well. And what I'll do is on my host system, I'll then upload this file to my mobile device so we can run it, see what happens. Okay, so I've uploaded that file to my device. But before I can actually get a connection on my system, I need to also perform one other step. I need to do one other step. Can you tell me what I need to do that? What I need to do? Remember in the malware chapter, we went to Metasploit and we opened up a listening port. We opened up a listener on one of the ports in our device. So I'm going to do that again. So there is a module known as multi multi handler, and as for the payload, I'll select set payload Android meter operator, and of course reverse TCP. Now what I'll do is I'll configure the options. So the local host on which to listen, set lhost, simply local host, and the port, when we forwarded it, we specified port 5555. So that is what we'll be listening on. Okay, this is running still. Okay, good. And run. So now it's running. I'll try to open the application now on the device. And you see it has received a connection. And we have received a meet operator shell. So now if I look at the list of things that I can do here, check root. So I can check if a device is rooted. I can install or uninstall applications. I can get the list of apps. This command, okay, is saying device is not rooted, which is correct. My device is not rooted. Okay, geolocation, you can also try getting the location. Enable or disable wake lock. Activity start, so you can start any Android activity. This is going to give you the application list. So that connection is working and we are getting the results of whatever command we are running. If I look at the help list again, then I can also use this as kind of a spyware and tell it to record stuff from the mic. So record the mic, okay, play a video stream from the webcam, play an audio file on the target, okay, dump the call log or contact list, get the SMSs, grab a screenshot of the interactive desktop or watch the remote desktop in real time. And you can also get system information. So if I say sys info, it will give you some details. The Android version. Get UID. So let's check what user ID we are running as. So the server username is just some random value, doesn't really matter here. You can also check the network details for interfaces. Okay, so, and again, you can use this as a spyware, as a keylogger. You can remotely control the device. You can see what's happening on the device. You can delete files, upload files to the device. So once you get this thing running in someone's system, you can do a lot of things with it. So this is a lot of functionality similar to the malware that we use for Windows, but there are some extra things as well that are specific to a mobile device. Okay, so the Android command section, those are specific to an Android device. So that is a way to hack an Android phone. You can also hide the application icon on the device. So if I do this, now of course it can't be visible on this screen, but on my device I can see that the icon has disappeared. So that's how this works. And with this, we have reached the end of our syllabus. Now, okay, the session has been closed. I close the connection. Are there any questions from the audience for now?
Sir, we can get your recorded video from the institutes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, sir.
But for our batch, we don't have any recording prior to October. So after that, you can get your sessions, but before that, we don't have any recordings because we were
Okay,
using
sir.
Jitsi, so that didn't have the capability. For all recent classes, you can get the recordings that you like. Okay, so that's the end of the syllabus. Are you guys having any questions, any doubts? You can ask. We still have around half an hour. We can take that time to, so doubt session specifically, and you can ask any question that you have from this entire course, from everything that we've covered. And also, most importantly, are you practicing this stuff? Are you able to keep up with the practicals that we've discussed?
Doing it, sir, but not rigorous practice because due to my busy schedule right now in my office.
Yeah, I understand that happens.
But whenever I'm getting time, I'm practicing from any chapters, the commands
Okay,
and the tools,
that's
whatever available to me.
practicing. Definitely keep practicing, and because otherwise you are going to lose the flow of what you've covered. So definitely, whenever you find time, you should practice. And I know it can be difficult to find time for this. That's understandable, but okay, practicing is also important. So, uh, any doubts that you have, you can take your time. Go over the syllabus, see if there's any problematic topics that you found, or something that you think you might be having a lot of issues with grasping. So you can take a look at that and you can ask. I don't have anything else left to cover topic wise.